you want your nose, because my nose is at an angle, right? Deviated septum from getting hit.
We are live now, by the way.
Welcome you.
Okay, yeah. So what's happening? So happy Christmas, everybody. This is a Christmas special. We're in London. It's pretty much a free-for-all. We were going to talk about tactical empathy. We kind of talked about it last time, so we're going to go for a free-for-all. So just anybody who's watching this, and there are a couple of people trickling in, ask us anything about dating or class A intoxicants or just anything else. But anyway, so you want to talk about that or maybe not?
Maybe it's best left unsaid.
Like the bird said, the drugs don't work.
The drugs don't work.
Basically. So what do we have to talk about really? Well, so James is, we started a live stream the other day, by the way. We did about 20 minutes. People were saying the audio wasn't that great. So if you feel inclined to do so, you can let us know in the chat if you think the audio is not good. However, we did listen back to it later and it was fine. So we're not necessarily going to take everything on board unless we get hundreds of people saying it's shit. So I think it should be okay in it. The music's not too loud, etc. But I don't know. It's been a pretty eventful year, hasn't it? It's been. If we want to do a sort of,
we're still alive.
We're still alive, or are we? Are we living in a simulation?
There's a lot of videos about that, aren't there?
Yeah.
What the key lessons what are the key things to ruminate on maybe for guys that they can take into next year and really make 2025 the best year they've had for dating?
Well, I think it's boring and we bang the same drum every single time, but I think it's got to be about taking action. It's self-honesty and taking action. It's got to be like looking at yourself and saying, am I actually in the place where I want to be? And that could be all aspects. Obviously, we mainly talk about dating and sex and relationships, but fitness, your career, your finances, all of these different things. Looking in the mirror. Am I actually where I want to be? Okay, no, I'm not. Right, where do I want to be? I want to be here. Okay, how do I get here? And what actual tangible steps can I take to do it? And I think what we see a lot with clients, not everybody, we've got some, I mean, all our clients are great, really. I mean, you're all great guys. And we love you very much. But some of them actually do the work and actually start to get results, and others don't.
Yes.
And sort of pay lip service to it, and they quite enjoy chatting to us about random different shit that's happening in their lives, but they're not really making the changes we suggest. And it's the old definition of insanity, isn't it? You keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same result. So,
why do you think people like to stay stuck in this idea of even tricking themselves that they are taking action when they're not really taking action? Is there some comfort in that? You must know on a deeper level it's nonsense.
Well, I think both of us ourselves are somewhat self-help junkies. I think both of us really enjoy the content. I know other people in my life, I think my girlfriend, Sheena, if you're watching, that's not a real name. If you're watching, welcome to the stream. But I think there are other people in my life I know as well, outside of this space, who love that content. They love self-help content. They love self-development content.
I mean, it's addictive, isn't it?
Yeah.
It makes you feel like you're doing something productive.
Yeah, and it must be, I bet you if we chat GPT, because we're chat GPTing everything these days, except the advice we give you, which is based wholly on our own experience. But I bet if we chat GPT'd it, there would be evidence to say that the very fact of engaging with content makes you feel like you're doing something. Like before, when I was talking about visualization in exercise, and it cited a study, and it said that they had this group of people, and 22% of those who hadn't done any exercise, but just imagined that they'd done exercise, showed muscle growth.
Yes, yeah.
Which is
mental. The power of the
thought,
right, and your body, because it's
yeah, which is absolutely mind-blowing. So I said it to my girlfriend, and she said, there you go, just stop going to the gym, just imagine.
Well, and can guys take that as, okay, well, I don't have to actually go to approach now, I can just imagine that way to do it. No, because firstly, 22% is a pretty high figure, but it's not 100%. I mean, let's face it, that, I don't know enough about that study to really verify it. But even taking it at face value and assuming it's true, it's still a minority of people. Generally speaking, most of us need to do the work. I do happen to think that visualization is an incredibly useful tool. And I think you can use it with the dating stuff. I think you can use it with exercise. I think you can use it with business, with all of this stuff, actually. But I suppose the key difference as well with dating is that
at some point you're going to have to talk to other people. You're going to have to talk to another human being of a different gender, or the same gender if they survive, whatever. But you're going to have to talk to another person. You're going to have to make something happen. Otherwise, essentially, you're sitting in your room, watching pee and not doing anything. Right? So I think there is a bit of a difference with the social skills.
Well, and also you can't visualize actually. You can't bring a gun into reality, right? By visualizing successful.
Two boys pretending to be experts.
I actually misread that initially. I thought it was more funny than it was. I misread it as two lady boys. The two lady boys pretending to be experts in dating.
Are we actually experts in dating?
I wouldn't say I'm an expert in substance abuse, travelling, and between us, we have had many sexual encounters. So if we can pass experience as a teacher, then yeah, we probably have more knowledge than the average person.
We've had a lot of experience. I'm also getting very old now, so I've also had a lot of years of experience. I've been in quite a number of long-ish term relationships, plus had casual partners, one night stands, this kind of thing. We've dealt with probably more women than most guys who are not world famous that we know have. So in that sense, yes, I also think we're both very obsessed with this as I think we find the psychology of it very interesting. We spend a lot of time studying it. We've also taught hundreds, if not thousands, of guys all over the world, and I think all of that does add up. So yes, it does bring a certain level of expertise, if you want to call it that. At the end of the day, though, we are also just two guys spouting our opinion, and if you don't think it's of value, then it's absolutely fine for you to tune out. But no, I think we bring something to the table.
I hope you do.
I think we do.
I hope we do. Well.
What does this one say? By the way, any questions, any comments, anything you want to put in the chat, put it in the chat, because this is your opportunity to ask some questions. Is this Bonaparte? Make sure to give a shout to Bonaparte showing his intimate body parts on the London Tube. I'd rather not see Mr. Bonaparte's intimate body parts on the London Tube or anywhere else, really.
Is he in London? I doubt it.
So the reason for that was because I was telling people that there's a new sign on the London Underground. I said to you saying don't exposing your body parts on the tube is unacceptable, which I would have thought you need a sign to tell you that, really.
That would insinuate there's a few people doing it.
I mean, who's doing it? I mean, really, who's
Les used to do so. He was always a good drunk because he had this Jack and Hyde style personality.
Seriously? What, he like?
Oh mate, he used to go mental when he was drinking, and then what I loved about it from a sadistic point of view was the next day he'd be racked with shame and guilt. So I wouldn't want to talk about the night out before. Just if you even mention, hey mate, do you remember what you're doing? You'd shut it down. Like, no,
I was like that as well.
But he was next level because I got outside in Bosnia, outside of Sarajevo, White House, the government building, just putting his trousers down and waving his dick around. And I just kept taking photos. The next time I was like, by the way, and he was like, just completely like Jack and Hyde.
I'm sure he's delighted that this is now being aired.
Well, no, he's matured a lot since then. This was back in the very early days when just first met him. Really, I mean, he must have been.
He's quite young, isn't he?
Yeah, he must have been like 22, 23, right? So he won't mind.
No.
You're mature, and you've got to look back on that. Part of the whole thing they talk about with self-acceptance is accepting all parts of you and who you were back in the day as well, So
I'm sure we've all done stuff, and I certainly have.
I've done so much. I continue to do so much stuff. I don't regret, but it's part of the journey, right? And you don't almost. You just got to welcome it in as okay. That was where I was at. I did the best I could at that stage with the
getting your willy out.
With my level of intoxicants I had in my system, right?
Yeah. I think you have to forgive yourself. And actually, in a funny way, that dovetails with the dating stuff, because guys, I think, suffer a lot from shame, not just like sexual shame, but also social shame.
Well, what we do, so this is a good topic to go into, which you'll be able to add value to again if we think about the visualization thing, which is the prior self that wasn't getting laid, which we both had, and has a lot of shame and guilt and lack of self-acceptance and self-loathing and low self-esteem. That's manifested for years, right? How do you deprogram that from you whilst also doing this whole premise of total self-acceptance? Because that's what we essentially do, is almost reprogram negative self-beliefs about ourselves that are being formed because we're not getting laid. But we're having to accept all parts of ourselves at the same time, if that makes sense.
So do you mean a guy has not been getting laid and now he's like 35 and he's trying to learn this stuff.
And you go through that kind of epiphany, and they come to a boot camp. It's kind of their like Mystery was talking about, Phoenix rising from the ashes. You have to have this big moment, and then you start acting a different way, and you kind of reprogram yourself, I guess.
Well,
to be like, actually, no, fuck women do want to fucking suck my dick, right?
I think
am attractive.
Well, I think for me, if I'm totally honest, and I mean, my journey, I won't go into the whole. I won't bother going into the whole story again because I've told it many times. But there were various steps in the journey. I was doing okay in Manchester on Tuesday just by doing a lot of approaching. Then I started to learn more about the sort of the theory stuff behind this, and I moved back to London. I started to do better, and then I refined it, and etc. So there's various steps along the journey. However, what was the question? Oh yeah, so when I started to get on dates with women that I genuinely thought, sometimes, wow, she's out of my league, or like, geez, what the hell is she doing here? There was a certain cognitive dissonance, actually. And that lasted,
like your imposter syndrome.
Yeah, there was imposter syndrome. And that lasted, if I'm honest, for a reasonable amount of time, every year or so. Of sometimes sitting there with a woman and thinking, "Fuck, she's what the hell is she doing here? She's kind of out of my league." It then started to dissipate, and I don't know if that was because of reference experience. Because obviously, once you've been successful in a few of those situations, you start to think, "Well, actually." Maybe I have got the goods for some women, and maybe you just start to embody that character a bit,
I think you do have to play a role, right? You have to play a role as this guy that's, if you haven't succeeded with girls, you have to kind of step into this. We always talk about using the ego. You have to step into this attractive archetype, don't you? You do, to break old conditioning.
You do, and at first it is somewhat faked. Now I had a very, very odd, quite long email conversation with a guy who wasn't prepared to pay me any money, but was asking me this really nuanced question about something that Robert Greene had said in The Art of Seduction, which was basically the player likes to play a role. He likes to play this kind of game. He likes to, And this guy was saying, "Well, why can't I just be myself?" And I was sort of saying, "Well, if you're being yourself and you're not getting what you want, which presumably you're not because you're emailing me, then you need to do something different."
Yes.
But also, I think the early stages of dating for men and for women, I think it is a bit of a game. I think it is a bit of role playing. I think women play their role. I think men play their role, and it's sort of it's part of the game. I don't think it's a terrible thing. But you do start to become the character more as time goes by. In my experience,
I think it's actually okay to. I think it's almost more healthy to almost put on a facade as a seducer.
Yes.
And to kind of permanently feel you have to be in this state even on your own. I don't think that's necessary.
But do you? Did you ever have that epiphany? Because was a caveat. Obviously decent guy, blah blah blah.
No, it was a mental game, and I just have very, very low self-worth and self-esteem. Women they are the universe in the sense that they hold up a mirror up to you. You really, I think a man can be judged by on his own accord by. Women will just hold a mirror to you. So if you're in the period of feeling low self-worth, like you're not really, low self-esteem, whatever, you won't pull. It's as simple as that, So, and when you're feeling really good, and you're putting out this kind of like just this, you can't fake the energy. You're feeling good, you're upbeat, you're moving towards what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm not my phone.
Is that your phone? Where's my phone? It's all right, guys. I've got my phone. Don't worry.
You do have your phone.
I do have it. Don't worry. No, I've got it. It's fine. So my question to you was: Did you have a similar period where you would get on dates with maybe women who were more attractive than previously, and you had a sort of imposter syndrome, or were you kind of just like, oh, whatever?
Definitely from when I first started doing Daygaming.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel worthy. Women actually sort through it because I was going with those girls that didn't know how to date.
Yeah.
So they were just kind of like, hold on a second. Then they kind of worked out. He's done a 5-minute party trip on the street. But then because I was getting bad reactions on dates, I quickly learned.
Yeah. And do you ever get that now? Has there ever been a situation in the last year or a couple of years where you've got a date with a girl and she's an absolute smoke show and you're like, I'm not worthy, but you're like a little bit like, oh fuck,
Yeah, it does happen from time to time. If I'm on some self-induced horrible come down.
Yeah.
Or if I've gone a while without dating, because sometimes I meet chicks via nefarious means, and or just be traveling a lot too busy, right? Then yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
But not so much. I think over time, you just care less.
I've found, and I can say this reasonably genuinely without trying to just make myself sound hard or whatever. I mean, I guess if there would be certain circumstances, yes, of course, you might feel those butterflies a little bit. But for the most part, regardless of how attractive a woman may or may not be, I tend to walk into the day not really giving an F. I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever, she's hot, okay, and that's genuine. That's not me putting it on. And it's completely learned behaviour, or it's behaviour that's been.
But it feels congruent for you because you've done it enough to bed it down.
And I think also as well, like as men, we're bringing something different to the table because almost 100% she's going to be better looking, right? But is she as intelligent? Is she as well travelled? Does she know about as many things? Has she got as much life experience? Probably not. So in that sense, I sometimes It's not about looking down on the woman, but I do look at the woman and I think, okay, great. Well, you're very pretty and you're this and that, but
no, what else you got? And that's a really good point. We've been trying here in Colombia in recent times. It's something I remind myself when I was going to It's like that. It doesn't matter. She's a 21-year-old, in her prime. The reality is, you're probably as good looking as the girl. Way more money, way more life experience, way more interesting, way more going on, right? Than her. You are actually a more pound to pound more valuable asset than her. Yeah. So it's actually, again, this is where it's interesting, right? Because what you believe, your perception is reality, and I think women just understand if a guy understands his own value or not. Well, just the way he communicates, and they either see you as a predator or prey, and they either see you as the guy thinks he's better than me, great, I want to fuck him, or he doesn't think he's better than me, he's off the menu. Well, it's really that simple, and they can just tell from your eye contact and the way you interact with her. Straight away, she knows he thinks he's less than me. He's done. Yeah, and it's amazing, and you can fake it to a certain extent, but you have to do the reference. You have to go on the case and fuck it up to then understand how to fake it. Well, I said to Miss S, partly just to trigger her, but partly because it's sort of true. I'd say, well, I would just go on dates and automatically think that I'm better than the girl, regardless. And that's where some tactical narcissism actually helpful. Because women, like Bergamy is a very real thing. Women don't necessarily choose every boyfriend, but they want to be with a guy they perceive to be better than her. That's just how life is, I'm afraid. So, if you don't like that fucking thing, you just fuck off and big talent, right? But the reality is you've got to be better than the woman you're dating. Yeah. So you might as well believe that. Yes, even if you're not actually technically better, you have to believe you're better, right? And she has to believe you're better. And I would say as well, it's even more important in this day and age because, I guess it's always been important, but the stark reality is there's then always going to be somebody better than you, right? There's always going to be somebody better looking. There's always going to be somebody richer. There's always going to be somebody more ripped. There's always going to be somebody with a better car or more net worth or whatever. So we're also operating in a market where the reality is that women have access to these high tier men. Now, that being said, guys get all sort of like hot bothered about this online, like, oh my god, what about Stavros with his yacht? I'm talking to actually a girl that we both know a little bit at the moment. I'm talking to her about a situation she's in. I'll tell you later who it is. And she's gone to a different country to go and hatch with this guy. Right. And this guy is kind of giving her the cold shoulder a bit. She's like, oh, what do I do? Blah blah blah. And I kept saying to her, listen, all right, this guy, he's all right looking. He seems like a bit of a flounder. She sent me some videos. He's not particularly tall. Not that that's all important, but it's a thing. He's not particularly tall. You've dated high value guys in this before, significantly high value guys. Why are you getting so wound up about this particular guy? Why not just fuck him off? Did she fly out? Did he fly her out? He flew her out, and he's kind of fucking her around now, all this kind of thing. What do you mean by football? Well, he's just not spending any time with her. He's just like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm feeling it. And what was worse, and I don't want to give away too much because it's not my thing to talk about really, but she caught him having done something very compromising. And maybe this is just an amazing game on his part. I don't think it is. I just think he's kind of slightly, neurodivergent. But instead of him going, oh my God, darling, I'm so sorry, he just kind of like brushed it off and kind of tried to brush it under the rug. Well, that's good. And then started to almost be distant towards her. When really, and I said to her, well, from your point of view, you're looking for somebody basically to settle down with. He should be pulling out all the fucking stops. This is more like advice to a girl than advice to a guy. Right. He should be pulling out all the stops to try and impress you, to try to keep you there. But the reality is, this guy she could get better than this guy Right.
But she's still hooked on this guy for some reason.
Well, because he believes he's better than her, and he's treating her
Yeah.
garbage, right?
So
Treat the mean, keep them keen, the old
Yeah.
adage.
So the lesson there, I suppose, is that yes, there is hypergamy. Yes, there are millions of dudes out there who are always going to be better than you. But if in your own universe, your own bubble, you believe you are the best, you know, you're going to have a much. It's not that retention is impossible, but you've got to fucking believe it. You've got to think that you're the
100%. There's actually a very, very
the
good,
dog's nuts there.
a very good article here from old CH, who I'll read it out because it's very, very short. But he talks exactly about his concept, which is state of mind, right?
Yeah.
And I'll read it out for the troops. Guys, if you've got any questions, lob it in.
Yeah, put the questions in the chat, guys, for God's sake.
Being part of delusional helps. Being part of delusional helps.
It really does.
Yeah. There's a great Gene Simmons quote as well that falls in line with that, right? Which is,
I would say being totally delusional.
life is way. Gene Simmons, right? He's something like 10,000 birds, right? He said life is way too short not to have delusions of grandeur about yourself. Right, that's just solidifying. Yeah. Why not think of the shit? You're born as this playable character. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Why not go around your life thinking of the bollocks? What benefit have you got in thinking of shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Or playing the victim.
Exactly.
Like, no, you're not helping yourself or anyone else around you.
Yeah.
That narrative, that narrative of ego. Right?
Exactly. And going back to your original thing about, you know, what can guys do to improve going into 2024, 2025? I mean, self-improvement is the obvious one. But a lot of guys that we come into contact with, they are actually, you know, relatively high value, you know, decent jobs, decent careers, that making some good money, sometimes very good looking, and they don't think that they are good enough, and that is you need to flip that script.
So how do you go about that? It's through kind of actually telling yourself, catching yourself when you're feeling your thoughts are going that you're not worthy, and reprogramming through self-talk. And actually going to do stuff and building that confidence through repetition.
Yeah. Do you think that it's slightly genetic as well, or it's sort of passed through family and stuff like that?
Could be, but I think it's more like if you got trauma, you know, from a bad upbringing, or you've had shit happen to you between 5 to 10 years old, you take that on, and that's hard to dislodge in subconscious.
Because I've been like a lot of people, I'm becoming more, you know. There's a lot of stuff on Instagram about this, but becoming more and more interested in the idea of narcissism and where it comes from and how it operates and everything like that. And I think about myself, and I think I'm somewhere on this quite reasonably hard scale. I don't think I'm sort of. I think you've got
not biddy levels.
Well, I think you get people who are sort of malignant narcissists who are almost it's crossover with psychopathy, where they actually want to treat people badly. They actually want to see other people fail.
Mr. M.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, and I think MLDs.
Yeah.
They both like to see people burn.
Exactly, and I don't think I'm that, but I think I'm quite high on the other part of it. And I was actually asking my mother about
which is the other part. Just
thinking you're fucking right.
God-like self-belief. Well, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think with dating, it's necessary.
Yeah, regardless of whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
And I was asking my mother about it. She said, I think your father and also your grandfather on my dad's side both had traits of that. So maybe it's come a little bit easier to me in some ways. That's what I'm saying. Do you think some guys need to sort of put it on a bit more than others? Or
you say that though, but you know, when you were not, diving into your backstory a bit, when you were not particularly fond of yourself, was that? Could you say that? You had that level of narcissism, or was that developed on a conscious basis?
It was really weird, right? Because how it worked was, I think in the back of my head I did, but I didn't demonstrate it because I was too. So
interesting. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and actually
interesting. So you hit it.
Yeah,
you kind of hit it.
So it's kind of like this weird character who was not very social, certainly no good with girls, not very good like socially anyway, right? But I also secretly thought. And this is almost like a gamma thing, isn't it? You know, it's almost like thinking you're the share. You're the secret king, you know? But you also, I suppose that's the nuance, you also have to communicate or show it in some way, don't you?
And this is where actually, your first point about taking action is so valuable, because a lot of guys, I think, have these delusions of grandeur, but that's exactly what it is, delusions.
Yeah.
Because it's not reflecting the real world.
Yeah.
But if you have that self-belief and then you take action on it,
yes.
That's awesome. That's a recipe for success, right?
Or you actually got to show people, communicate. It doesn't mean about going around and saying to people, "Hey, look at my watch," or look at my Lambo parts outside. But you've got to show it in some way. Sorry, were you going to do it?
Oh yeah. So this is Chateau Artie's best article. State of mind is called. What is it that separates those few men from the rest? The ones that seemingly have no trouble getting pussy when they want it and how they want it. The ones who wield illimitable power to inflame the desires of women. The key to their power is not money or sports cars or beach houses or postgraduate degrees or 50-inch plasma TVs or chocolate-covered strawberries on a bed of rose petals or any of that shit. All that is incidental. And it's only important to the extent that it improves your state of mind. The real source of power is already within you. It's how you see yourself.
Yeah.
It's your decision to move through the world without apology, to set aside complaining for decisive action, to let your brass balls do the talking for you. The quintessential masculine quality women cannot resist is supreme, unshakable confidence. You can be poor, out of shape, stupid, unemployed, addicted to drugs, and meet every one of society's standards for losing this. But if you radiate those confident vibes and say you're perfectly fucking pleased with yourself, you will get laid all the fucking time. And the girls who get wet for such men are not just bastards, smart women, women with high self-esteem, MBAs, and yes, especially hardcore feminists, crave the cock of a man who chooses such power and happily take it in the face and up the ass if it means he'll grace her with the pleasure of his company for a little while longer. This is the kind of power that matters. Fuck the normal rules. You make the rules now. They tell you to give until it hurts. To do your duty and throw yourself in the blood-soaked, grinding gears of the corporate, academia, credentialist Krell machine in service to society's great gaping more, and then maybe one day you'll be lucky enough to get chained for life to mediocre pussy with infrequent temperate sex, whereupon you'll work yourself tirelessly for both, shuffling your ungrateful brats through one of society's sacramental rites of passage after feeding the endless insatiable hunger of the machinery of your state. And they'll pat you on the head for your devotion to the cause with the lateral promotions and certificates of exemplary service and announcements in the wedding page of the local newspaper and a brand new sex statement. Fuck that noise. There's a dirty little secret they don't want you to know, and everyone's in cahoots, from the alphas, the betas, the keepers of the vagina. It is this: you don't need to play by their rules. Women will still flock to you if you shit all over everything you were taught that you were needed to earn their love, as long as you do it with style and unwavering boldness and a take it or leave it attitude.
Yeah.
Because the simple truth is, the right attitude counts for more than all the material possessions in the world. The power is in your head. It's a great article, actually. That's the first time I read it in a while. But man, that is literally it. Right, your perception is reality. So again, go back to the Gene Simmons quote. Life is way too short not to have delusions of grandeur about yourself. Right? It's like, why? If you're going around your everyday life, again, life is a game. You determine the missions, you don't determine the character. We're born into this conscious, we suddenly are aware we're conscious sensitive beings in this character. Why not have godlike belief about the character you're playing? What benefit are you on, or who are you benefiting by not doing that? Right? By not thinking you're a shit, you're not benefiting you or people around you, right? So why not think of it with that lens? And if that lens helps one person to be like, you know what, actually, fuck it, I'm going to recreate myself in my own image. I'm going to stop being so harsh on myself. I'm going to treat myself with self-respect, self-love, self-compassion, and start doing things to build that self-belief, right?
Yeah.
Reference confidence is built through the great stuff that TT said, didn't he? Desensitization through repetition.
Yeah.
Confidence is purely situational competence.
Yeah.
So if you can't approach women, but you approach 500 women, I guarantee you'll get this version that's approached 500 women is way more confident in this arena.
Yes.
Than the past.
Yeah, exactly. And another point, he was such a great writer, by the way, wasn't he? Just his turn of phrase was fucking brilliant.
Chateau Artie.
Yeah. But another point is that I think we spoke earlier about forgiving yourself, and this is again where you've got to forgive yourself, because when you start doing this stuff, if you start doing it, there are going to be fuck-ups, and it's going to be awkward, because you're going to get things wrong.
And also getting sidetracked. I mean, I look back on the relationship I had with the ex.
Yeah.
And I spent 7 years on and off with that. I mean, in hindsight, I don't regret it, and there's a lot of learning points, but would I have done that again? No. Honestly, probably not. So, but you can cascade yourself now. You can be like, well, it's water on a bridge. You can't change it, right?
I don't think you really believe in regrets, do you? I don't think you think there's any point in regrets.
I think you want to learn lessons from the past, but you can't. Spending time in that emotion of regret is just victim. Yeah. You have to live and die by the decisions you make. Because if we accept that we're the conscious creators, we're every point in the road we're choosing.
Yeah.
Our actions, our beliefs.
Yeah.
We are choosing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we're consciously aware of it, unconsciously we just go through emotions, which I've also done for lots of my time. I just unconscious to anything.
yeah.
Just bumbling through. That's also your choice.
Well, they say not doing nothing is also a choice.
It's true.
You know, it's true.
It's true.
So we got a few points here. After the chaps, cold approach doesn't work. Well, I mean, I met my girlfriend through cold approach. So how do you explain that? I mean,
and all the hottest girls I've dated meet through cold approach.
yeah, we're gonna have to probably ban this guy in a minute. You can cold approach until the cows come home and be single. It doesn't work and a waste of life. Well, I mean, I think look, we're probably gonna have to ban you in a minute, Adam, because you seem like one of these guys who's just gonna keep just coming up with this stuff.
Well, there's two categories of guys.
For the whole street.
There's either the black pill brigade,
Yeah.
which are just doomers on everything. They've got no life experience because they're typically like 18 to 20 and they just don't know.
Yeah.
Or they're the cold approach, weird red pill brigade that hung around the community for years but never wanted to take action.
Yeah.
So they'll sit there going, it doesn't work, and they haven't done one approach.
Yeah, I mean,
weird.
To take it at face value for a moment, unless you keep spamming the chat with more stuff like this, the reality is, so what is cold approach? I mean, basically it means talking to people, to other people, right? So if there's an attractive woman sitting over there, and I go up to her and I have a conversation with her, say, hey, listen, you look quite cool, I'll just come say hello. Is there a greater chance of something happening between me and her, or a lesser chance? Well, obviously, there's obviously a greater chance because, you know, as we all know, 99.9% of the time women don't approach, and once you do approach, you don't want to approach them. So, you know, even so by doing something, you're increasing your ability to make something happen, which is what we want. The other thing is, you know, everyone's on the apps these days. The apps don't work particularly well for most men, which is why, you know, we get a lot of people coming to us. If you can walk up to somebody and have a decent conversation and make a good impression, it does still put you above the crowd. So to say it doesn't work is just nonsensical, because obviously having conversations, I mean, how does any relationship start? It starts by having a conversation with another human being. Cold approach is just means going up and talking to somebody.
It's just a way of meeting.
And by the way, because he's probably thinking, running around Oxford Street and say she looks strange. It doesn't have to be that. It could be cold approach encompasses everything. It could be in here. It could be in a store. It could be in a museum. It could even be in a nightclub or a bar. It's all the same thing. Just talking to other people.
Being social. More social.
Obviously it works because it's worked for thousands of years. The only reason less people are doing it now is because of these apps that don't work very well.
We've got some good comments actually. Maybe go to scroll to the top and we can just race through.
This is an interesting one. Is Try going to accept Steve Jabba's offer of a sergeant in Birmingham in 2025? I actually didn't know that Jabba had made that offer. Birmingham, jeez, does it have to be Birmingham?
Well, he can't afford to get on a plane and go anywhere else. To be completely fair to Steve, and I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning this, because he made a few videos about he had a bit of an obsession. He made a few videos about me, a couple about you. I think he made more about me. And he had an obsession with both of us.
He was saying his off and stuff like that. I did reach out to him once on Twitter, not because of any of that, because I thought that he posted a photograph of my girlfriend on his feed without any, you know, sort of like emoji on her face or anything like that. Right. I said, listen, that's out of order. It then turned out that he said, oh, I'm really sorry, man, let me go through it. He went through it, had a look, and he said, and it turned out that it wasn't. I think somebody else had posted it underneath, so it wasn't his fault. So I was like, okay, man, no problem. And then I said, listen, if I was feeling particularly, I don't know, maybe I was just drinking like caffeine that day, but I was feeling particularly social. So I was just like, listen, man, if ever you want to come on a live stream and have a chat with, more than happy to engage, and we could, have a bit of a sparring match online if you want. And then he messaged me again randomly later, and he was like, "Listen, if maybe someday we can meet up. You do actually seem like a cool guy, blah blah blah." So I tend to be fairly forgiving of these people in a way. I mean, it's like,
ultimately they're just making the fools out themselves. Because anyone that sits online and this way, with John Anthony, just a lot of pain. Hurt people out there, right? So there's a lot of pain to the world. If you're bothering to make videos of other men the entire time, I dare say not to be judgmental. Probably the priorities aren't in order, right?
Probably not. But I mean, do you think,
unless you get paid like that Jeff Ross guy to roast people as your thing, you get paid millions of dollars to find out what, which neither of those things are.
Well, I mean, to be fair, John Anthony seems to be making a better business out of it, perhaps, than Steve. But I mean, so just out of interest, in terms of sort of frame, like I tend to be fairly forgiving with people. Like if he said to me now, if he was like, "Oh lads, listen, I'm actually just around the corner. Do you fancy a drink?" I'd probably sit down in for 10 minutes. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Or do you think that's a little bit?
No, I probably would do, because I just like to see. I also like to see people squirm. It's just like, you know, pointing out all the stuff they've done. It's like, and the worst bit for a lot of people is when you're, and this is where I believe, you know, the best frame to have in life is this self-abuse mastery, which is nothing's a big deal, right? And it's just like, it's very hard to rock someone. You know, you literally have to have a gun put to your head and they pull the trigger for you to actually react.
Well, he made
he
made a bunch of videos about me, and I didn't watch any of them. I think I watched maybe a bit of the first one, and then that was it. So, you know,
but what people are really wanting when they make videos about people is a reaction. Right?
Yeah.
And if you don't really care because you just don't done too many drugs or a bit like this thing like me, you don't. Unfortunately, you don't get a reaction.
Well, I mean, I think we both have far bigger problems than criticism from Steve Jobs.
My nose stain on my face would be one of those.
Yeah.
Maybe go up to the top. There's a few. Work our way down. So shout out to Bonaparte, of course.
Don't show your body positive. Well, this is a good one.
Yes, I have. Not. I don't have a lady boy thing, but I have had experience with lady boys.
I've met a few. I haven't sealed the deal, as it were. Not really my thing, to be honest. But
no, not really my thing either.
You know, it's 2024, guys.
We are in London. Audio ship, but conversations are priceless. We are in London. What do you think about Daygaming in Europe this time of year? Well, why not? But if you can go to, if you like cold weather, why not? If you are open to going to sunnier pastures, personally, I just think women are way more social and friendly when the sun is out.
Which is perhaps a good opportunity to mention what's
the big
coming up.
The big one in 2025, Rio Carnival. February 26th till March 8th. Myself, Troy, a number of the other coaches are going to be teaching in Rio Carnival. It's an awesome time. World's biggest party. Brazilian women are smoke shows and they all come before us.
They really are, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
What are the dates? Feb
26th to March 8th. We've got, I believe, 8 clients sign up and 2 spaces remaining. So if guys want to come to that, send us email info@jamestusk.com, Rio 2025. Include your WhatsApp number so we can get in touch with you. We don't like communicating on email. Troy at Real Troy Francis, title Rio Carnival, and include your WhatsApp number so we can message you and say, "Oh, okay, what's up?" And then we'll get on a call with you, see what you're about. Look, it may not fit your needs. Like some guys are better placed maybe joining me in Russia or Ukraine. Guys a bit more slow paced, a bit more classy, you know, wearing suits, walking around, you know, the kind of high-end districts of these places, and conversations are a bit more chilled. Rio Carnival can be messy in a good way. But it's about, if you vibe with our content and you're struggling to go out there and meet women, you know, which is the key with all of this stuff, is meet girls in real life, IRL as they say, then the best thing to do is invest some of your money to come to a place that you like the look of, whether it's Colombia, whether it's Brazil, whether it's Argentina, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's Russia, whether it's Greek islands, wherever. Join us at one of these locations where you find a wicked tracks and you like the vibe of the place or like the idea of the place, and have a blast charging around, break the back of the anxiety, the social anxiety, by approaching a couple of girls over the weekend, and then at the same time, you know, you'll with some guys, because the bootcamp environment is usually 6 to 8 guys, and they're all just.
Well, obviously, we'll have a private chat and everything like that, so we stay in touch afterwards, give you feedback, give you advice. You know, we've got a bunch of coaches, got ourselves,
and give you a structure to keep progressing.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, because what a lot of the time, what most guys will say is, well, not every guy. A lot of guys will say, well, I'm actually in a conversation. I'm kind of okay, but it's really just getting over the hump of that.
It's just getting into it. It's that, all the mind stuff that comes up pre-approach, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then obviously giving you some techniques so you become better flirting.
Yes.
You can.
You can.
It's a learned skill. You can be better at that.
Yeah.
And the only way of doing it, unfortunately, is through repetition.
You have to actually do it. It has to be played. It has to be played in the field.
And the only thing stopping you is emotion.
Yes.
Not feeling like you want to do it. That's literally it. That's how we built the entire dating industry for men. It's based on that.
Yes. And if you could bottle it, if we could bottle a potion, and we've tried many different potions to see which one works best. I'm not sure any of them work particularly well. To get you over that hump of there's a pretty girl, I know I should go and speak to her. How do I actually get myself to do that? If we could just bottle a thing that just made us just do it, we'd be richer than Elon Musk.
Well, and also that state you're in, we call it the Daygaming trance or Daygaming flow, but really it's just, again, forget the terminology, but being social and feel fucking good connecting to human beings. But after about 5 or 6, approaches and the guy's kind of warmed up and the social shackles are off, you feel fucking amazing, don't you?
You do.
It's like elixir,
So yeah.
ode to Daygame.
Yeah,
You want to come. But it's basically just being social, connecting with other people. And again, Terrero talked about this, using Daygame as therapy. Same with me, I was just lonely and a bit lost. And I just started going around the house and speaking to people. I just felt way better.
Yeah.
A bit like going to the gym, right? It's just something to do. It's not. Well, it's something you are just a social man.
Yeah.
Step into the role of playing the social man, and you realise, oh shit, that brings me a lot of good feelings and happiness and connection, and I can date girls. And, I'm better socially, and I can make friends more easily. Why would you not do that?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you're and if you like the idea of that, because it does sound good, but you've watched our content for a while and you can't do it by yourself, then obviously get in touch and get some feedback and get thrown in by us. I mean, that's the point.
Yeah, and thrown in, and also we will feedback on every interaction you do. So not only you just like, right, go out there and do it, but also, okay, right, you spoke to her, what happened, what did she say? We can listen in. Okay, she said this, you said that, you could have changed it, you could have tweeted up a little bit, you could have been more flirtatious, your body language was a bit off, etc. There's a lot of different nuances to this. So when people are saying Daygame doesn't work, well, if you're not doing it very well, then it's not going to work very well. So there are things to be learned here.
Man that only focuses on how to impress a woman, it's a weak behaviour.
I wouldn't.
Very weak.
I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't disagree. But I mean, this is a channel. Well, our channels are primarily about meeting women, so obviously we talk about it a lot. But no, I would agree. I mean, I think that your main focus should actually not be.
No.
Your main focus should be something else, and all of this meeting women stuff should be secondary. However, the problem is that a lot of guys have a big problem with meeting women, and it's an enormous part of people's lives. I mean, so
you kind of what you can do is run away from it. So I know many guys who just don't date, don't go anywhere near dating. But does that lead them to be happier and more fulfilled? Fuck no.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Unfortunately, you have to go. And again, what's preventing it? Feelings. Oh, I had a bad relationship one time. Again, I mean, it's like fucking hell. Come on.
Yeah.
Growth mindset. You win or you learn. We're always in transition. I mean, we've got eternal blackness awaiting us. We might as well do something with the time.
Well,
actually, that's a good topic to segue into down here, because I wanted to do a stream about Nihilism for a while, but someone asked a question kind of about.
You don't talk about Poznan. Have you been to Poznan?
No, we can talk about it. I've never been.
I haven't actually been. I don't think it was Rouge was based there, wasn't he? It's one of the.
All our gents. I think Jack Daniel isn't. His real name is also begins with J. Just get the impression. Yes.
What about this one?
John Marr. You meet a girl of your dreams on the pleasure of hanging out the condoms. You find out her body's count is 25. What's the move? Well, I'd say stop banging my ex-girlfriend.
I'd say 25. I'd say 25 is pretty low. I'd say you got a diamond there, man. Hang on to it.
I mean, if she's Scandinavian, that's you never want to play the question game again. We can make any season on. Threesome, and she's like, yeah, I've had by the age of 22, I had like 100 threesomes. I was like, dick shoving into your fucking body. You're just like, oh, Jesus Christ. But they're so sexually liberated women in Scandinavia days. Yeah. It's almost a bit scary for the average bloke.
I think all of
sexual experience.
All of this body count stuff, I think guys are really obsessed with it. I think it's partly because of the Manosphere and Fresh and Fair and a lot of these shows where it gets talked about a lot. And I was having a conversation the other day with this dude who lives in Florida, and he was just so obsessed with this. Oh man, so how many women are guys sleeping with these days? Do you think it's more than before? And I was like, yeah, probably is more. He's like, what, 10% more, 20% more, 50% more? And it's like, I mean, what does it really matter?
And all the time he could have spent researching it, and he could have actually just been taking action.
Well, what is it? The only, as far as I can see, it doesn't matter that much. Unless you want to get married and you want to settle down, so you want to have kids, and then it matters somewhat. And then obviously, perhaps you could argue it doesn't. I mean, I don't even know. I'm not sure how robust the science is. They say that women find it harder to pair bond after they've been through a lot of guys. Sounds.
From my point of view, I think it's the ego thing. I always like being a guy who slept with him, and it was only like the second or third guy.
Yeah. But yeah, there it
It's
is.
definitely an ego thing.
Yeah, it is. But for the most part, it doesn't, unless that's really what you're looking for, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's the dating scene as it is if you want to be a bit of a player, it's the best it's ever been, really.
Any advice in your 30s? Yes, get out and start taking action. You know, you're in your peak decade as a man in terms of sexual market value. So make the most of it. The time does you, or you do the time.
Skip the abs, go out and enjoy the night. Probably. The abs are pretty shit.
And then it creates that the paradox of choice, doesn't it? The apps where you think you've got hundreds of options, and it just dilutes significance.
All right. So, did you want to talk about this? Because this is more like the nihilism thing.
Oh yeah, a bit deep. But how do you get over the feeling that nothing matters to you when you're depressed? Is it a case of forcing yourself to approaches, even though you have no urge to anything at all? I mean, I find the Tony Robbins rule is quite effective, which is you catch yourself ruminating or thinking about terrible stuff for 90, give yourself 90 seconds and you snap out. Like doing something to change your state, so some exercise. I mean, for me, I always found, sitting at home working, if I was two on my own, walking out the house, taking a walk, and then speaking to a few people actually made me way less depressed because I'm connected. I'm doing something to change your state. You can't think your way out of kind of a bad place. You have to do something.
Yeah, it sounds like, I mean, we're using depression sort of colloquially. I mean, it sounds like there's all different forms. It sounds like this guy may actually be almost clinically, he may be clinically depressed. It says he literally can't get out of bed in the morning or something. And that's different. I mean, I'm quite nihilistic, and I'm not always singing a happy tune all the time, but I've still had that sex drive, so it hasn't affected me that much. It's not like, oh, I'm so down. I still want to enjoy the good things in life, which include, meeting attractive women. So if you're in a space where you're saying that you can't do it because you're so down that you literally can't have a conversation, then I don't know, man. You're going to have to seek some sort of medical help, or you're going to have to address it in some shape or form. I think, because I think you can be. Well, we both perfected the art. You can be absolutely nihilistic and still approach like a fucking maniac. In fact, they go hand in hand.
How would you describe nihilism? Is it just a dim world view that it all ends bad?
Well, I think it's more just and then we go into Camus, don't we? Absurdism. I think which I actually prefer, which is the sense of it's all sort of a bit random, meaningless, really. It's not like
so you make your own meaning.
So you make your own meaning. So it's not necessarily a terrible thing.
I think that's the key, isn't it? It's like don't end the sentence of the half of the first part. It's all meaningless.
Yeah.
Do the whole thing, which is it's all meaningless and great. I get to make my own.
Well, look, it's all meaningless, but we're here now, right? So
and let's make the most.
So what are we going to do? Because
unless you have the means to kill yourself, which I'm not advocating, but unless you're people are willing to do that, then you're going to keep waking up every day until your body. So you might as well just do.
The time's going to pass anyway.
Yeah, you might as well do something that you enjoy. Find shit you want to enjoy and push yourself.
Tusk, have you ever considered clean shaven? You've had it, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't look great.
Anything else? Familiarity helps. Being in space. Third place, coffee place, and personal soup. Yeah, that's true to some extent. That's true to some extent. I think if you're familiar with the location, I mean,
What's this?
Exposure maxing.
It's just to get better at dating.
I think what used to be said. Did you know that Tiger's closed?
Tigray, the old favourite. Oh no.
We should have a moment of silence, really, to.
I drank thousands of overpriced Jaeger once.
So unfortunately, it's closed. I think it's reopened to something else. But anyway,
that always used to be the place.
That was the place. The reason I mentioned it was because back in the early days, I used to go there quite a lot, and I remember reading some advice at the time, which was quite good. It's almost like going to the club, so it almost becomes like your living room. Like you know the place so well that you feel very comfortable there. I think there is something to be said for that.
Yeah, I agree.
How are you feeling, by the way? We're going to keep going for a minute.
Yeah. Roger Bambino is not forgiving of your. It's not forgiving of your forgiveness.
You're forgiving because you're far too high in empathy and wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy.
Is that true?
Roger Bambino.
Is that true? I don't know. Maybe. I think I'm I think I am somewhat empathetic. I often wish. I've talked to you about this before. I score quite highly on a lot of dark dry stuff, but I think I am somewhat empathetic. I think I've become, in some situations, there would certainly be plenty of ex-girlfriends, some of whom may be watching this now, who would absolutely disagree that I'm empathetic in any way whatsoever. But I think I'm quite empathetic. But I get what you're saying, but I just don't think it's that fucking important, really. And it's just like, no, Steve Jobs made a few videos about it. It's so fucking like, who gives a fuck, right? I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, I've been in situations with people before where we haven't got off to a good start, things haven't gone well, and then you met up with them, and you realize, well, let's never maybe we're not going to become best friends, but you know.
Were they ever making videos about it?
They were making videos saying me off, and
they were.
No, they weren't.
I mean,
all right. So am I being wishy-washy?
Well, I'm not sure I'd want to say that about Jack, because he's also just a nutjob, because he actually apologised a few times for making videos, and then remove things, and then 2 months later he's back doing the same thing.
Well, that's kind of what he did. That's kind of what he did with me.
It's just pathetic, isn't it? It's like, has he not got something else to do with his time?
Is there a more serious point we can put out of this though? Because I mean,
no, empathy is good,
but is it good? Yeah,
because it doesn't mean sympathy. It means understanding someone's perspective.
Yeah,
maybe you're too high sympathy.
Well, it's not. No, it's not that I feel. It's not. I feel sympathy towards him. It's not like I'm like, oh,
no, to him, but say
other people.
You want to break up with an ex. You feel sympathetic. So you're like, oh, empathy is understanding her position. Sympathy is actually being like, oh, I don't want to do it because I feel bad.
True. Okay. Well, look, we've all got work to do, man.
We do. And look, being sympathetic is also no bad thing. I think people are actually too callous, right?
All right, Tusk, do you have any tactics for aging like a fine wine, like skincare?
I mean, I don't know why you're asking me. I just got lucky, really. I don't have any self-care routine whatsoever. Botox. Get Botox.
Botox is good.
That's the only thing I can recommend. Fuck me, there's a lot of questions. People actually give a fuck to me. Any plans to come to Australia? No. Get your ass over to Rio.
I've never had the desire to really go to Australia. Maybe I'll take California.
Rio, keep it safe.
We'll come to Rio. Drop us an email, troy@realtroyfrancis.com or info@jamestusk.com. We can tell you more about the program, which kicks off on the 20th of Feb. 26th of Feb till the 8th of March. Very, very intense. It's going to be fucking a blast. We can talk with you through the details, but we're very cognizant of safety, and we're not going to be in any dodgy situations. So don't worry about that. Can you give me suggestions for Daygaming in Russia?
St. Petersburg's awesome. So is Moscow. I mean, they're both awesome places. We spent 2-3 months there over COVID. It was amazing, wasn't it? Amazing.
It was actually, it was in many ways, I think, one of the best trips I've taken in my life.
Same.
Because I got to learn so much about James. I'm only joking. Don't clip that.
He's misquoted.
I'm quoting somebody else. But no,
Sochi
it was
as well. Sochi away. Do you remember
yeah.
that?
It was so good.
It was so good.
It's kind of
I plan to go back this summer.
You can go there. I think you can get visas and stuff. I think it's doable. But it's such a shame. Well, I mean, obviously on many levels, but I mean, it was so good at that point. I went back a load of times, and met various girls there and stuff like that. It was fucking. It was just brilliant.
So did I actually. It's an awesome place to go, especially in summer.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm keen to go back. So that's.
I remember going there with Torero once. It wasn't the first time. The second time I went, we went to St. Petersburg, and the snow was literally like up to there.
Really?
So we went to the mall, but even crossing over to the mall,
that's crazy, isn't it? What was it, like -30?
Yeah, ridiculous. Merry Christmas, fellas. Love the content that you guys put out. Very deep and authentic. Thanks, man. At least somebody out there appreciates it.
Yeah, one person. Yes.
Yeah. Troy, what did you make of Paris? Did you go to some cool cocktail bars? Well, I was with my girlfriend, so yeah, we went to some really fucking cool places. Actually, I actually really, really liked it. I mean, again, as a game place, I don't know. There's certainly a lot of very interesting.
Lots of hot girls.
There actually was.
Seem receptive. Like, was it more head down, aggressively smoking their gold bars?
They seem, I think you could probably make things happen there. I mean, it's yet another one of these places though where you're competing against the elite, particularly because we were staying in, Rue Saint-Laurent, which is in the fashion district. Pretty pricey. high value people there. I mean, once again, like all of these places, you know, Ibiza, Miami, whatever. I mean,
Would you put Paris in that category? Or that district you're in?
That district, I think, but there again, I think there's a lot of just regular people there as well. I think you could probably, although I'm not sure legally in Paris now if you're even allowed to talk to people. I think they put through an actual law against. You need to check on that.
Really?
But in the yeah, basically, maybe double check on that. But certainly in the bars and stuff, yeah, not a problem. It was really funny actually because the hotel we were staying at, right? We stayed at a place called Hotel Coast, which is one of my favourite hotels anywhere really. It's really upscale. We got a couple of nights there. It's fucking great. And they've got all of these like female people, reception people working there, and they're all wearing these like tiny skirts and like heels and stuff like that. And it's just very, very obviously catering. I was saying to Miss S, I was like, you just probably wouldn't do this in London. You just wouldn't get away with this in London. It's like in Paris, it's so sensual. Everything's like so sexualized.
It's a very sexual place.
Yeah.
I think Paris is cool.
I do really like it. Yeah. Well, yes.
You should say hung, not hanging.
Yes. Sadly, apparently, so I don't know a great deal about that though. So, but, I mean, it's very.
He took me for my first ever mini bootcamp before I did the Daygaming bootcamp. It was an interesting experience.
Yeah, I never met him, but you know, he seemed like an authentic sort of guy. So I don't know. Sad news anyway. I'm not black pill, but men being in their prime is debatable. I don't think it is really. I think it's pretty.
It's not debatable at all. When are you supposedly in your peak then, Mr.
He might say 20s.
Well, I just don't agree. You just don't have the life experience. You don't understand yourself. I mean, Carl Jung and people, not that he was some porn star, but life begins at 42 up till then you're just doing practice. You know, there's obviously a reason. In fact, I'm going to chat GPT the reason.
I mean, my success personally skyrocketed in my 30s. Now, there was a number of reasons for that, particularly because I got off the booze.
Did that not help you?
No, it helped my success rate. No. Oh, did the booze help me?
Yeah,
not by the end because I was just too much. Yeah. So I got off the booze and I improved my social skills and I also moved back to. I was back in London, which is a much bigger population. So there was a couple of other factors, but I think I really grew into myself in my 30s in a way. In my 20s, look back and picture myself in my 20s now, and I'm like, you know,
I just don't think we know who we are that well at that stage, right? I just think men really become
I think
kind of plus 40s, really.
I think the whole men age like fine wine thing can get overplayed a little there, and obviously there is sort of a limit to it. But at the same time, remember that women don't value youth as much as men do. Women value masculinity and ruggedness, and the problem with a lot of guys in their 20s is they can look a bit baby faced. To be honest, I mean, I certainly did, you know. So
you just haven't really got your shit together, have you? Like when you're younger. I mean, most people.
Yeah, we need more live streams where you guys go out and day game. Well,
when have we ever done one of those?
Well, in Russia we did a load of them.
Oh yeah. Well, they won't appreciate the promise that we did like 20 of those. We did one a day for like 20 days, and then no one appreciated the fucking thing. So we can't have it all.
Yeah, maybe we'll do something again somewhere. I don't know. Maybe Rio actually.
Rio would be good for some live streams. Yeah, because we can buy a cheap SIM card. Just put this in. I just want to find the.
So Rick Adjusted Returns says, how important is having a good father figure in youth instrumental in attracting women?
I think it is important, actually.
Do you think so?
Having a strong male role model. Yeah, I think it's something I was lacking, to be honest. Not through any fault of my dad's, but just he was away a lot, so I was lacking that male role model. So I was essentially raised by my mum, who was a bit of a people pleaser, and quite neurotic. I mean, she's very friendly, but quite neurotic. So, yeah, in that kind of age, I was kind of rebel with that course in 13, 16, creating a lot of trouble, and I think it was because my dad just wasn't there. So let me push the limit, and you always probably subconsciously wanted someone to slap me in it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think there's this classic perception of, men don't teach their sons about dating, about women and stuff anymore, but I don't think they ever fucking did. In fact, if anything, I think it would have been less so. I mean, like I can't imagine my grandfather ever talking to my dad about sex or women or anything. It was just like, get on with it. You know, so the only argument you can make is if the male father figure is this super masculine dude, then maybe the son takes on those characteristics.
Traits, yeah. No, I don't think you ever really have a player dad. Well, unless you have a player dad.
I mean, maybe our generation now. Maybe our generation. If you had a son, would you teach him the rudiments of the? You probably would.
I probably would. Because I know how much it sucked. I know how much it sucked having to learn this shit.
Yeah.
From scratch. It takes so long.
And nobody ever tells you it except us now.
And then all I do is get castigated for it because now I'm running around, actually having fun, married women, who are 18, 19, and people are like, oh, how dare you be doing that?
I know.
It's just, you can't win, can you? And that's why I left the Anglo-sphere 7 years ago.
Tiger, the home of nerdy tech Indian men pestering women.
Look, there were many a paying tech Indian man that I was running in to add to his harem, so let's not be losing.
Jack says, thanks for the words. I did a few weeks of approaching with Coach Martin in the summer and got a bunch of numbers from girls, but it's still a change I felt. Maybe it needs more time.
Well, I mean, you've called out your own problem there, which is you did a few weeks of approaching with a coach, and then it sounds like, correct if I'm wrong, but reading between the lines, it sounds like then you kind of went, okay, jobs are good, and go back to my antisocial, introverted life and not do anything. You have to, being social is something you have to take on that mantle every day.
Yeah, absolutely, and it also might be. I don't know really anything about you or your situation, but if there is some issue with some sort of depression, then it might be worth looking at that. The standard advice is always
cocaine and benzos.
Go to a doctor. Exactly. Yeah. So Roger's saying, I'm just being dark, right? It's just that I've come to the conclusion in life that empathetic people get taken advantage of and never win in life, unfortunately. I agree. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with your original point. Maybe I was being a little bit. Maybe it is a little bit wishy-washy. I don't know. Maybe
I disagree with that because I think it's confusing sympathy for empathy.
No, well,
empathy is simply understanding other people's point of view, which gives you a vast amount of power. And again, we talked about this in the last stream. Understanding a woman's blueprint, what makes her tick, what's missing from her life, that's empathy, right?
Yeah.
And then acting a certain way to fulfill that narrative. That's smart. That's how you get placed in life. Understanding that everyone is the centre of their own universe. So being empathetic does not. What's he put here? No, you do not get taken advantage of if you're nice and sympathetic and you mix that with empathy, possibly, or if you're a people pleaser and you get trampled on, you don't have.
I'm listening.
Something cool, but just empathy alone is actually Superman. It allows you to understand the keys to other people's kingdoms. You don't have to act on it. You don't have to be nice to them. It gives you that understanding.
Okay, fine. If you're making that distinction, makes a lot of sense.
Sympathy, I think you can be overly sympathetic and absolutely get taken advantage of.
Yes, but another distinction here that we've made before is that there is also a difference with this between men and women, because we've often said all of this dark triad stuff. With women, it's great in dating because unfortunately they seem to love drama and bad boy and all that kind of stuff. You don't really want to be doing with men, generally speaking. Well, certainly not.
That's a very good nuance to it.
Yeah.
Because men, all the quotes were man of your word and all this stuff was generated by male integrity between men.
Yeah.
Everyone's always accepted that women are a different race, right? So,
actually, all right. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of that here. All right, Steve Jabber. Should I be empathetic towards Steve Jabber? There's possibly, I'm not a colleague of Steve Jabber's. We don't have a relationship. I'm not friends with him. We don't have a relationship. So maybe there's an argument there. But what I'm basically saying is if you are in cahoots with somebody, like we work together, we're friends, I have other male friends, I'm not going to fuck them over, right? And I think that's the important thing. I think the dark triad stuff is better employed with, it's best employed in the dating arena. Actually, I'm listening to a book at the moment. Called How to Make a Few $1 Billion, which is quite an ambitious title. And the bloke who's narrated, who's written it, he does most acquisition. He's obviously made videos, whatever. And one of the interesting things he says is he looks for people who, in the C-suites in his teams, he actually looks for people who gel well. He doesn't want arseholes in the team, which I always think is quite interesting. Because I often think, in corporate culture, you get these like fucking arsehole people. And it's like, steel makes steel and all that kind of stuff. I've always questioned whether that's actually true or not. And this guy seems to think it's not. He's like, actually, cooperation ultimately is better to make money rather than, because nobody wants to work with an arsehole, however talented they are. 100%. So, So thanks, Roger, because we brought us quite interesting, different little nuances here. But you say here, I actually think I meant emotional rather than empathy. I mean, I think. All right, I'm not going to sit and make excuses for myself here. I think, like everybody, I think I have different states. I think.
Well, no, I think when we're feeling a bit. I mean, I go through this as well when I'm feeling ill because Tony Robbins again talks about this. Not that he's the guru, but he's got a good point. We're not one way, we're just the states we're in.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm feeling a bit lonely and low. And what do? I start being basically nice and just like you do. So I'm kind of approval seeking, people pleasing.
I think.
And
Well,
and you know, and then I'm just like,
well, I'll tell you something else actually, and you might be able to confirm this or deny this, but this actually goes against Roger's point, which is sometimes I think that I can actually be too much of an arsehole with people that I don't know. So we'll meet new people.
Yeah.
So we'll get something
Man, I
new.
struggle to all the new guys I try to bring into the team. It takes you about 6 months to try and shove
Yeah.
it in. For
So
you
then
to
I
be-
just
I've got a coffee, I've got a wank book, I've got a massage.
So in some ways I can also be the opposite. So I like just avoid them for 6 months, and then I hang out with them.
I'd love to understand I'd love to be empathetic to that pattern, like try and understand where it's coming from.
I think it's just I think because
Would you say your natural state of being is more introversion or extroversion?
was more introversion,
Okay.
and it's also a bit more
And avoidance.
And avoidance.
But my personality type is also avoidant, relationships.
Yeah.
But I like.
But you will have seen that with certain people that we know. Whereas at first it wasn't like I disliked them, but it was like I was.
No, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, but I knew. Not that I'm the all-known power, but I'm quite good at understanding who's going to get on with who usually. So the guys I was quite adamant you meet, and then you're like, oh yeah, they're really cool.
And they were really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's really weird because I'm like, fuck, why is he delaying the sixer?
There's only.
But the psychology of that would be quite interesting.
Yeah, I don't fully understand it, but it's definitely a pattern. And it's one that actually I've been thinking about. I need to sort of correct because often I just won't give people a chance quickly enough, and then they turn out to be really cool. And I'm like, why did I waste that time?
But maybe it's from giving people a chance historically, and actually they turn out to be complete chumps. So
maybe. I mean, there's only.
I need to be a bit more like you, to be honest, because I'll let any Jack and John through the door, and then people are like, what the fuck is
I would say.
well, they there, right? But I just like people. That's the problem.
I'd say there's only really one person in contention at the moment. I am somewhat close about.
Yeah, I know.
I did, but
No, but you're not. You're also quite good at. You seemingly always call it right. Because you'll say early on, and then it turns out actually 500 people say it down the line.
Yeah.
Fuck, he always gets in there first. He's quite good at reading it. Or maybe you just see the dog tried straight away.
Maybe.
Dog tried reflects.
I don't know.
But okay, just the final point of empathy. So if we want to apply this in a useful way to ourselves, that's really what self-awareness is about. Understanding yourself on deep levels and understanding your own patterns and meta patterns. You know, when you tell yourself you're going to do something 100 times, you don't do it. Instead of judging yourself and being critical, wagging the finger, you should be thinking, right, what is it about this thing that I just can't get around to doing? What's the reason behind it? If I was looking at myself non-judgmental as a third person, what would I be saying to that person to try and get the best out?
This is the comment of the day. I'm a freaky guy. Should I worry about intestinal parasites from eating third world bugs?
No, don't worry about it. Continue to live with.
What's your full schedule for next year?
Send us email. We'll send it.
Are you on any of James's WhatsApp groups? You need to basically just email info@jamestusk.com, or you can email troy@realtroyfrancis.com and we can send you the.
Has Tusk quit booze? Not really. I've cut the I've quit many things actually.
Should I stay in cities with an international airport just in case I need to be? Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Why'd you? Well,
There's photos. Well,
I don't like staying in. I mean, a decent international airport. I mean, a decent airport that is quite near to the city is probably a good idea. Yeah. But aren't many of their late 20s massively non-baby faced? Sometimes.
Well, a good question to posit would be take a famous person, just think, right, objectively speaking, do you think they're more attractive for women? So Harry Styles, the first person to see was 18. Is he now, objectively, not that you're a woman, but do you think now he's probably more attractive overall as he's aged? Depends on the woman, I guess, because you have these, may she rest in peace, but Carolina, no, the girl that she killed herself. Love Island presenter. The bed stars just when he came into. So he was obviously a breed of women, the MILFs who were hunting the young, kind of sprightly, or virgin or whatever. There's some an appeal there, but I'd say most women probably now is late 20s, early 30s. Is going to be more attractive than the 18-year-old version of herself. If you think about your own, I don't know how old you are, Roger, but think about. I mean, I 100% believe this model of me that is way more attractive than any previous version.
Yeah.
As I've aged, I'm 38.
Yeah.
And I look back actually at myself in mid-late 20s, or even when I still was getting laid. I just think, fucking hell, I would bang that dude. What the fuck? How are these women thinking?
Yeah, I would look at pictures in my 20s, and I would definitely think I'd have.
I mean, I look at a picture now, and I still cringe like a day before.
He says, I don't know, to be honest. Actually, he's debating hard. No.
I would say Black Pill is, of course, wrong in general. Yes, I'd agree with that.
I think so. I mean, look, once again, I think the whole man age like fine wine thing is an overstatement, and of course some don't. You do have to take care of yourself. You do have to, I mean, it's the obvious
you don't
stuff.
automatically age like fine wine. That's the point. You get better with age, but then conscious allotment of energy and time.
I mean, some men age like shit. I mean, you've just got to try not to be one of those dudes. Do you ever have days you go for Daygaming and can't approach?
I've had many, not so much now, but historically, yeah. I find the easiest thing to do is go out and just say to yourself that the easiest way to do is repetition, right? Hypnotic rhythm, as Napoleon puts it in Outwitting the Devil. Set yourself a time every day to go for half an hour walk. That's all you're saying to yourself. I'm going to go for half an hour walk. Typically, what's even better is if you can do it around a new area. So say, I was recently in Sao Paulo. Every day I went out, I got an Uber to the new place. And I said to myself, right, I'm just going to have a walk for half an hour because I want to do 8,000 steps a day, right, just for health reasons. So I walk around the new area, and I just say to myself, okay, in my head, if I see someone I like, I'm just going to test for interest, right? So I'll say hello and see where it goes. No attachment to it. And you do that, and either the woman you speak to is high interest, you say hello, and she's clearly wanting to speak, or she's low interest. She says, oh, I've got a boyfriend, puts their head down and move on. That's it, right? If you can hit 3 of those in your half an hour walk, 40-minute walk, you build repetition, and it's actually a really easy thing to.
But playing devil's advocate, do you think that might allow some guys to let themselves off the hook a little bit?
Yeah,
so they just go out every day and they're like, oh, I didn't see anybody up.
I think you need to set yourself a target, and a good target to aim for is 20 approaches a week. So if you do a walk every day, 3 approaches, that's 21, right? Yeah. Or you could even do Monday to Friday. You walk for half an hour, 40 minutes, 3 approaches, that's 15. And you go out with a friend, do some bar game, 10 to 15 approaches, or go out and do some day game with a wing, whatever. But you have to find ways of inputting this into your life where it's not a big deal. A bit like we were going to the gym, right? Yeah. It's not a big deal. You just roll out the house and you think about it and go to the gym. Yeah. So you've got to get this stuff on autopilot because everything is just better down to subconscious habit. James Clear style. It really is that simple. You're going to be a mix at the moment of a load of unconscious habits you're not really aware of. You have to make the first step is make the unconscious conscious. Map out actually how you spend your day, not how you want to be in your dream life, how you actually are, and then get rid of the bad ones and put the good habits in that you actually want to be a part of you because your identity forms your habits form your identity. Your identity forms your habits. That's simple. And you can at any stage just change those. But you've got to be aware of what you're changing and aware of what you want to put in as the new habits.
Yeah, indeed. Roger's getting quite candid today. Got quite open.
Just don't worry, son.
Yeah, trust me, dads are not always a good thing. My dad did it for my life completely, so I think this record, you need your dad, is overplayed. I would agree with that. I think that is. I mean, I suppose ideally, having a decent masculine role model, a decent female role model in the house is probably the best thing.
I think because we know a lot about this, if we ever had kids, not together, but if we ever had kids, you'd probably, if it was a guy, you probably would tell him. Women don't inherently know; they just understand it. But as a guy, I'd be like, I want to. I'm not going to get him on live streams, the weird stuff. But I'd tell him, I'd get him.
No, I think you'd certainly tell them the basics, and you'd sit down and have a drink and just be like, look, this is how it actually is. I think.
And then wait for him to turn 16 and then bang all the virtues from him. Or mates.
Or transition. Alexander Good. It can be any positive masculine figure. Usually your dad, can be your grandfather, close on. It's not overplayed. Okay, well, your fair opinion. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, having not had it, I think it's something that I would have benefited massively from. But again, if you maybe had it just taken it for granted, don't even think about it. But I think very few men have a very strong red pill understanding dad, playing dad, and also a masculine guy that can, good sense of humour, that kind of that. I don't think many dads.
My dad certainly wasn't that, although he had other qualities that were good, but he certainly wasn't that. I think my granddad was a bit more like that. But did I spend enough time with him for that reason? Probably not. So, yeah. I'm not trying to troll you. I generally not sure myself out. I'm just intellectually sparring, trying to figure this stuff out. I think too emotional, too much dark try is bad equally. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think the balance is, particularly in a long-term relationship, you need a bit of a balance because it is very hard. Well, long-term relationships are hard, however you cut it, but it's very hard to be the complete hard ass. Well, maybe our friend Mr. J would disagree, but it's very hard to be the sort of like super hard ass, like alpha kind of dominant person 24/7. And also, to be honest, it sounds like a who would disagree with that? Well, maybe Mr. Justin would have a different view of that. If you're going to run the relationship in a very specific way. I don't know that that's for everybody. Personally, for me, it seems like it's quite a lot of work. I mean, I quite like, unfortunately, as guys, we're quite lazy. We quite like just,
I guess it's one of those things, just playing devil's advocate, that maybe if you're, because it's a very BDSM community thing, if you're really doing that solely for years on end, probably just ingrained as how you act.
Yeah. So John Moore says, those Russian live streams were legendary. It actually helped me.
Finally, someone appreciates it.
There's one or two people out there who actually watch this stuff.
The questions are going crazy today.
They really are.
Come on, lads, give us a break. It's Christmas.
Right. I think sexual market value continues to peak until late 30s for guys. I consistently improve themselves, but in every way. But most guys don't do that. So I've always said 39 was my most prolific year for dating. Which it kind of was, although I would also add that actually in my 40s, although I slowed down a little bit, just because I think you sort of naturally.
I mean, it's just kind of naturally. You haven't really slowed down at all. I don't think you've sped up.
But I think.
I mean, he has. He's in a relationship.
Yes, pre-relationship.
Yes,
but I think some of the quality in my 40s was better. That was partly down to travel as well, though, obviously, which is the big hack, really, isn't it?
Sure.
But like I say, you've got to sort of. I'm worried about being Me Too.
I mean, to be honest, this strikes me as a guy who do the first step, which is actually going to start speaking to people, because it sounds like you're a guy who doesn't approach.
Okay, so yeah, Roger again. Apparently, psychopaths don't procrastinate a good. Well, yeah. I mean, there are some. If you read the book about psychopaths by Chris Dutton, I forget the title, but I mean, there are positive aspects to psychopathy. It's not all.
Well, actually, we'll put up another Heart Seas thing because he summarised it brilliantly in like five lines. The Wisdom of Psychopaths is a book.
Yes. This is great. There's a great one here.
What's the question? What's the statement?
Troy never talks about gaming in India. I thought he likes the talk.
I thought he likes dark meats.
Well, I've never been to India, so that's probably why.
That's brilliant. He does like the dark meats. Like, here we go. Cultivate your inner triad. You're in a dark triad. Possessing a dark triad personality is good for attracting women. It's also good for getting what you want out of life in realms beyond those of acquiring pussy. The dark triad ain't just for seduce, it works in real life too. From his book, The Wisdom of Psychopath, by Kerry Dutton, with his tongue not entirely in cheek, develops a skill set. He calls this the 7 deadly winds, the 7 core principles of psychopathy, that portioned judiciously and applied with due care and attention can get us exactly what we want, can help us respond rather to react to the challenges of modern day living, can transform our outlook from victim to victor, but without turning us into villains. His 7 are ruthlessness, charm, focus, mental toughness, fearlessness, mindfulness, and action. This book is absolutely correct. In my business career, I've seen people with these traits win again and again, often by screwing others over.
The Dutton.
So the seven deadly winds of psychopathy, taken from Kevin Dutton's study of mass study on psychopathy or psychopaths, was charm, ruthlessness, charm, focus, mental toughness, fearlessness, mindfulness, and action. So, I mean, it's hard not to see how those applied can be beneficial, right?
Indeed. Aurelius will only be in June, July next year. Do you know?
Yes. Russia.
So he's going to be in Russia. I may be there. I may be in Europe. But again, drop us an email. Try it.
For those interested in exploring Russia as a place, you can get a 3-month single entry business visa. You can get a 6-month multiple entry, tourist visa. Both 6-month multiple entry tourist visa, or you can do what I'm doing, which is called a shared values visa, which has been released to enemy countries of Russia. So,
oh, really?
Okay. And yeah, essentially, all you got to do is fill in a form saying you share the values of Russians, which is pretty old school, anti-gay and all this sort of stuff. And then you basically can spend 6 months a year for the next 3 years in Russia. And then after the 3-year period ends, you can apply for permanent residence. And you can come and go as you please, which is awesome. And the cost for that is £400. So I'm going to be there this summer for 6 months. If you'd like to join me it's an unbelievable place for dating, and it's going to be even more awesome because a lot of men have left. They've gone into combat, all those left.
Yeah,
we've got a couple of friends there, and they send us photos of the bars. It's unreal. It's 90% birds, 10% men in these bars in Moscow, St. Petersburg. It's just phenomenal. And if you want to see femininity in its undiluted pride, none of this woke-sphere, none of this, we want to be even, what's good for the goose, good for the gander, any of this angle-based bullshit we have to put.
No green hair.
No green hair or piercings. Russian women are just phenomenal. So feminine.
So Roger, again, we are apes. I think he means at the end of the day, think about it, your dad wants to be king out of your household, subconsciously put you in a place. Family dynamics can be weird. Happy holidays, thank you very much.
Tom Torero in my mind these days. Yes, look, you were obviously friends with Torero. I didn't have a personal relationship with him, but we both agreed that his content was awesome. And he had a really good knack of being able to take quite complex topics and make them bite-sized chunks.
Yes.
His podcast was amazing as well, very inspiring to get out of the house and take action, really, which is what everyone needs to do. That's the number one thing, is that just take action.
Yeah.
We're so bad at making guys do. We'll sit waffling on about taking action.
There's loads of questions. Do you want to take over for a few minutes? I need to go to the loo.
I wouldn't mind a piss as well. How many have we got? Tusk, why you hate Spaniards and Italians? I don't. Spain and Italy are cool places, and I've got Spanish and Italian friends.
So it's rare in my mind. You seem healthier and chiller. Well,
since when?
since 2 days ago, when I heard David Bond and Squatting Casanova are wanted in Brazil for inviting minors to a house party. Yeah, I can't comment on that. I've heard something similar, but I don't know if it's true or not. Got no idea. Aren't alpha traits incredibly overstated, overplayed? No, not really.
Did you we've got actually some good stuff about imposter syndrome. Did you guys get an imposter syndrome when you started first approaching women? How did you deal with it? And I think it comes from not getting validation from women.
Well, to be fair, we kind of covered this already. And the answer was yes, I did.
Because you're completely changing behaviours in place for many years. So of course you're going to feel what's the word? Cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
Incongruency, but the more you do that, and that's just your subconscious sees that's who I am now, because the concept in psychology is the boss is always watching. Subconsciously recording everything. The more your subconscious sees you as the man to be approaching women and getting positive feedback, you bed down that it's okay, and that starts to become part of your identity. You become very smooth with it, and everything to do with women is a learned skill. That's the beauty of it. The thing that holds you back is fear and emotion, not wanting to feel negative emotion, not wanting to face rejection. But if you understand that is literally the reason most men never take action on this, and you'll be in very few percentile of men do, then you can really achieve great things.
So I did have those things, and they did improve with time. But the other thing a big thing that really helped me was just making it a bit of a laugh as well. Just go fuck it.
It's game file.
Tyler RSD once said, just do it for the story, or do it so you can tell you like who the hell would do that? Like, who the hell would have the balls to walk up to that regular? Just do it. Don't even do it for the outcome. Do it for the story. So I got around it like that as well. Dot on. we need a book on how to deal with psychopaths, not how to be one. You cannot become a psychopath. That's true. You can't really become a psychopath. It's a rush thing. It's a psychological condition. Anything else that's good here?
This one.
Troy, are you active on Substack? I think my psychopath. I do have Substack actually, and I haven't. It's like Medium, but you have to pay for it. I may consider making it a more regular thing next year.
I've got Leyden Airport once in the lounge. I cold approach to go, got her into the lounge, and the lounge pass, and we smashed in the bathroom. It is possible. I'll just go for this.
Well, I might wrap up.
Yes.
Wrap it up. Should we wrap it up? Okay. All right. Final question.
Oh yeah, Rio Carnival 2025.
Email us info@jamestusk or troy@realtroyfrancis.com. Have you guys ever met Christopher Casanova? He seems a cool guy in space. I did. Have I met him? I think I may have met him. If I haven't met him, I have been in contact with him, in email contact with him. So I don't know him, but yeah, seems like a good guy. I've certainly seen him in Poland. I can't remember if we actually met or not, but yeah, seems like a cool guy. All right. With that being said, I think we need to call it for now. So hope you guys enjoyed the stream. As we were saying before, Rio Carnival is the 26th of February to March the 8th. We've got a couple of spaces left. Come out and train with us, party with us. It's going to be a blast. We're going to get you into just so many different approaches. Really, really beautiful, very receptive women. For more information, email me, troy@realtroyfrancis.com. Obviously, this is actually in character, do it lowercase, or info@jamestusk.com, and just put Rio Bootcamp or Rio Carnival in the subject line. Put your WhatsApp details in there, and we will get in touch with you, get on the call, have a chat, and see if it's a good fit, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, join us there. Any other questions, obviously reach out, and we will speak again very soon. Bye-bye.